section 17.89.060E and section 17.89.070 relating to short-term rentals. Action memorandum number 19-037, authorizing the city manager to execute change order number 2 with North Star Excavation and Asphalt Incorporated for excavation of additive alternative number 1 City Hall North parking lot improvements in an amount not to exceed $35,400. Action memorandum number 19-038, authorizing the city manager to negotiate and execute a new lease agreement with Alaska Technical Aviation LLC for a lease on Lot 10, Block 3, Palmer Municipal Airport for the purpose of establishing a commercial business use aircraft hangar. Action memorandum 19-039, approving the termination of the agreement between landowner regarding off-site parking spaces for lots 10, 11, and 12, parentheses 11-1, parentheses, Block 3, Bailey Heights subdivision. Action memorandum number 19-040, confirming the mayor's nomination of George Holden to the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Advisory Board with a term ending October 31st, 2020. And approving the minutes of our previous meetings, February 5th, the joint City Council and Board of Economic Development meeting, and our regular meeting, February 26, 2019. What is the wishes of the council?
Madam Mayor, I move that the council approve the agenda, including the consent agenda, the action memorandums, and the minutes of the previous meetings.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. Is there any discussion, questions, amendments by the council? All of those in favor of approving the agenda, including the consent agenda and the approving of the minutes of our previous meetings, please say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, say no. The yeses have it, and our agenda has been approved. The first item on our agenda for communications and appearance requests, the presentation of a proclamation to the Palmer High esports team for their achievement in competing in the 2018 Fall Overwatch National Championships Invitational. They have requested, they are not all able to attend this evening, so they have requested that it be moved to the April calendar. Is there any objections from the council? Okay, thank you. And the next is a presentation of a proclamation declaring April 2nd, 2019 as a National Service Recognition Day. Is that in here?
It's in the packet, but we just have anyone.
And we don't have anyone here this evening. So they have requested that it be moved to the April calendar. Is there any objections from the council?
Hold it until we have the people that.
Thank you. And the next is a presentation of a proclamation declaring April 2nd, 2019 as a National Service Recognition Day.
And rescue, Mark.
Is that in here?
It's in the
All right.
packet, but we just have anyone.
And we don't have anyone here this evening. So we will. So we have. Is that in here?
Is on active in the U.S. Air Force. Jason Williams, he's our president for our operation. I talk about briefly. He's one of our newest canine trainers with Jax, who is 4 months old and ready big enough to ride. So is search and rescue, land search and rescue here in the state of Alaska. Because it'd be like, I thought, operation, we ever had a problem in the backcountry with and he's one of the newest, and you have canine trainers with going to be his numbers all go up and that is not the case. typically, for example, 2 weeks ago, we went out searching for a land search and rescue. 4-year-old mountain bike would be like, I have for a mountain bike for 2 hours more than that country. And when it's miles long, we volunteers show up. The troopers say, here's information, you've got it. Typically, so what we do is my presentation talk to you about that. For your land search and rescue by troopers. And then the 40 where there's more than rescue. And the abilities vary. So for Arizona is people. They get away in the County Sheriff, 120 volunteers, 10% full deputies as well as a separate building that houses all their equipment is everything, including vehicles. They get and then the county go out there to get 8.5% tax. So here county sheriff deal for offenses such as we do those statewide that sort of thing. Including their radio they provide. Pretty much here for another campaign team and Matt's our offenses okay. So just so we were volunteer C3 established 2000. We just law enforcement and any emergency response. Our canines, they work statewide again. We're only going to state and we have to get a state number. So what is we are under the element of our team primary and training. Here is an they work and they go out and find each or main area. And we have everything is for first so we actually follow persons go to that. Particularly in a Alzheimer's patient. Specialty this year is running our 6th annual dating workshop after pass where we're bringing dog teams in from the states to train and recovery. Also, human remains impacts both land and water. Our team can actually find human remains underwater in the lake. Several years ago, we found a canoeist who had found the lake. As well as we got state this year the dogs for our 6th annual where we use all our paths where we bring dog teams in radio state and recovery. We for those human remains impacts both land and waters and go for insurance underwater dogs using As well as we got dogs for It takes about 2 years to train. So we that we're not relying on. So anyway, that's to do is put a water gate to get that we're not relying on.
Agenda is our report. City manager.
In probably 5 years. Clean up and take a lot longer. To get out and about. We're looking at potentially a secondary contractor to help us for a couple of quotes. We've been one probably 5 years. I've been here. The same thing called longer. We're looking at potentially a secondary contractor to help us for a couple I like to think that it's over for the most part, especially with the owner change next year's week. It's supposed to be in the 50s. So any of the remaining stuff that we have, will be good as snow. It shouldn't last. We haven't taken the snow gates off just because a big dump we need to push out. Well, golf course, I mentioned earlier, is mostly clear snow, still soggy, but George plans to open the pro shop this Friday. We'll start taking I think that the reservations for season tickets, those that did get those earlier in the fall, they'll be on sale again starting Friday. And also, he's got a newly stocked pro shop, so he's going to showcase some of his new equipment for those that want to get a jump on new equipment. Spring cleanup is scheduled for the week of May 6th to 11th. Just because it's warmer now, we don't plan to move it. We plan to run it much like last year, but I'm guessing that with this early so-called green up, that folks will be a little bit better prepared. I know last year when I cleaned my yard up, there were still some patches of snow and shade. I don't suspect we'll see that again unless something comes back with a vengeance. But even if we do get the snow, I don't think we'll see the issues. But it'll give people a lot more time to get their leaves and sticks and stuff bundled up. Week of May 6th to 11th. On that similar note, a good portion of our grounds crew already identified. I've already said they're coming back, so we'll have a relatively experienced crew. And Tracy Mays, our foreman, has said that she will last year when I came out here at the end of May. So we won't have a huge learning curve like we did last year unless the spring cleanups. Somebody comes back smidge this year. Even if we do get the snow, the area-wide Brownsville study, people will have more time to get their leaves and sticks. Last meeting scheduled followed by sensing sessions or that similar note. A good portion of our grounds crew already identified. They're not done. I've already said they're doing phone calls or teleconferences all to voice permissions. And Tracy Mays, our foreman, the advisory, has said that she went last year one or two. Had an open house. We won't have a huge learning curve like we did last year. That's spring cleanups. Somebody comes back smidge this year. They're calling in to get the actual area-wide Brownsville study. People will have more time to get their leaves and sticks. Last meeting followed by those advisory sessions or that similar note. A good portion of our grounds crew already identified. They're not done. I've already said they're back. Phone calls, teleconferences, all to voice preliminary information. The council advisory has said that she was last year one or two, and then also open house. Calling her a huge learning curve like we did last year. That's what it looks like. Somebody comes back to that downtown area. They're calling in to get the area-wide Brownsville study. People will have more time to get their leaves and sticks. Last meeting followed by those advisory sessions. Grant similar note. The others were here last week. Reviewing our financials, gathering information on preliminary information back in their offices. We expect them back in April for any further information, and also questions for the staff. And we expect the report to be completed sometime in some area. They're calling in to the area-wide Brownsville study. People will have more time to get their leaves and sticks. This year, followed by those advisory sessions. Grant finally inside the radio reviews. I will be on the radio. The others were here last week. Reviewing our financials, gathering information on preliminary information back in their offices. We expect them back in Center for information next week. Questions from the staff. And we expect the report to be completed and sometime in state and area. So we're going into the area-wide Brownsville study. People will have more time to get their leaves this year. Followed by those advisory sessions. Grant finally inside the radio reviews. I will be on the radio. The others were here last week. Reviewing our financials, gathering information on preliminary information back in their offices. We expect them back in Center for information next week. Questions from the staff. And we expect the report to be completed and state and area. So we're going into the area-wide Brownsville study. People will have more time to get their leaves and sticks this year. Followed by those advisory sessions. Grant finally inside the radio. The others were here last week. Reviewing our financials, gathering information on questions from the staff. And we expect the report to be completed and state and area. So we're going into the area-wide Brownsville study. People will have time to get their leaves and sticks this year. Followed by those advisory sessions. Grant finally inside the radio. But it's the same plan. The others were here last week. And then large items like refrigerators or rolled carpets, just things that. Questions from the staff. And we expect the report to be completed and so we're going into the area-wide Brownsville study. People will have time to get their leaves and sticks this year. Followed by those advisory Grant finally inside the radio. It's the same plan. The others were here last week. And then large items like refrigerators or rolled carpets.
Any other questions or
things that-
comments?
A couple of things I wanted to let the council know that I was meeting this Friday. As I had reported at the last council meeting, the whole meeting, the 16th. So that has been set aside, and then we'll be talking this Friday about further how filling it. So I will definitely definitely be keeping the council aware of what's going on and follow up with the meetings. The events, I have that handed out tonight. You guys have marked those. Thank you very much. I know we've had a lot lately. Seems like the last couple of days, a lot more than we've had in the last year combined. It just feels that way. I keep telling you, it has been set aside this many. So having the experience now, you know, under her belt and knowing what's going on with these events, she's still looking into it. A few of the ideas that she came up with, we realized probably the events, I have that still looking at doing an online RSVP for you guys. I know you can always be aware of what's happening. So we'll send out the link. You guys should go ahead last year combined. It just feels like we have said yes or no, or we want to change our RSVP. Post it there. So we're still working on that one. And then I will be out of the office next week. So you know what's going on at these events. She's still looking into it. A few of the ideas that she came up with, we realized questions, events. I have that still looking at doing an online RSVP for you guys. You can always be aware of what's happening. So we'll send out the link. You guys should go ahead.
The next item is my report, and as the city clerk said, lots of stuff going on.
So we're still working on that.
This Saturday, of course, will be the open house at the Warning Center, and on Friday night will be the governor's budget presentation, and what she says is we have two council people that the next item is my report, and the city clerk said lots of stuff. The event is full, so any other names this Saturday, one other day, the open house at the Warning Center, and on Friday night will be the governor's budget presentation. And so, talking about radio, I'll be on the 10th of May. The next mayor-managers meeting is on the 17th in Wasilla. That's going to be a Wednesday instead of a Thursday. We're going to be meeting with Nathan Dahl at their new facility in Wasilla, which will be, of course, similar to the one that we have up on the Palmer Wasilla. Peaks and Valleys, the premiere of that movie, April 1st. I think the clerk sent out the notice if you wanted to be involved in that. Wendy's on the 27th of April. I think you have that on the list too, don't you? And then May 20th for Arbor Day and that one came out also. And so I think, and the next agenda setting meeting is on April 11th and April 25th. So, any questions or comments regarding my report or any event that's coming up? Yes, Councilwoman Linda Combs.
I'll be able to confirm probably by the end of this week, but tentatively, we're going to have an older Americans celebration.
Okay.
And jointly with, Wasilla and other, and it'll be at the place you're having your next mayor's meeting, Nathan Dahl's assisted living place over there, Officer Meridian.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're hoping to, on May 1st with the grand opening and ribbon cutting, we're hoping to combine the two things.
Oh, good.
Since May is Older Americans Month.
Mm-hmm.
So that will put you on notice for a proclamation.
Okay.
And even if we don't have the party, we're still trying to plan it and pull it together. So, but I'll be at a coalition meeting on Thursday, and I should be able to let you know a little more. But
Okay.
heads up for the month of May, possibly May 1st.
Okay. And May 1st is on, do you have a calendar, Madam Clerk?
It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. Okay, great. And will it be during the day you anticipate, or? Okay.
We're hoping to be able to bus folks
People from here.
from here, and Wassee and different places, and just make it a bigger event than what we've had in the last few years, just to, more awareness about it, type thing.
Okay, good. Any other questions or comments regarding the mayor's report? Okay. What does, and I could bring this up under council comments, but, regarding the presentation we had this evening, what's the council's wishes regarding, should we go ahead and ask the city manager to work with him to see if we can find something suitable? Or find a closet or something like that? So, okay.
If you
so-
need a motion or asking for support, I would
I
be
can
happy
do
to
it.
do that and then, but I just support what you're saying there, Mayor.
Yeah, absolutely. We have lots of
Yeah, let's.
involved, and so, yeah, so just get with the city manager and, I don't know. They're cleaning out files in the old jail downstairs. Who knows?
And
Records, man.
You thought you were
Put my
gonna
space
fill them
on.
up, yeah, see what happened? We take priority. Okay, city attorney's report?
No report, Your Honor.
Okay, does anybody have any questions, comments to the city attorney? Okay, with that, then the next item on our agenda is audience participation. Anyone is welcome to come and address the council on any subject. 3 minutes if you're representing yourself and 5 minutes if you're representing a group. There is a sign-in sheet there, and so come forth. And Doug, you can sign in either before or after you testify, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, I just wanted to,
Will you press, there's a button there, and red means go, and here instead of green, so go. And state your name first, sir.
Doug Bartko. I live out Lazy Mountain, and I'm just representing myself. I just wanted to bring up a couple of things. One was related to the Palmer Depot, and the other one is developing a system, or perhaps systems, of bringing tourists into Palmer. I have noticed at some of the music concerts at the depot that there's an overflow of people. And perhaps now is the time to consider at least getting on the budget to expand the depot, at least lengthen it and then make it wider. Because I know the music group that I'm familiar with somewhat is the Matsu Orchestra. And they're growing, and then the number of people that are attending those concerts is growing quite a bit. And I think they give at least 2 concerts. The last concert, I believe they raised $800 for the Palmer Library. So if they do a couple of those,
Right.
and but if you lengthen the depot and then made it a little wider, it would give more stage room, obviously, for the musicians, and then more people could sit down. And so I think if that's something that the council could consider to put that in the budget, I'd certainly be in favor of it. The other one would be bringing tourists to Palmer. We used to live in Anchorage, but a long time ago. But when I have gone into meetings, perhaps at the Captain Cook Hotel, something like that, I was really impressed with the system they have of bringing the buses in. It's just like clockwork. I don't know if that was unique to Wally Hickle, you know, or if the Anchorage Assembly and the Hotel Motel people worked out some kind of a system. I was impressed. I mean, if you go there every morning, at least during tourist season, they've got all their luggage lined up for the outgoing tourists. And I assume they're going to out to the airport, and then they have shuttle buses, I believe, that take them at least out to Alyeska, you know, that business model. And then the outgoing tourists, and there's other buses coming in, bringing another load in all summer long. It's hopefully something, I don't know if Palmer could do it every day, but maybe we could work out a system 2 or 3 times a week where there's, and in the connection to bring them here, I had, there's at least 2 systems. I know when I was a kid, I think it was Senator Stevens, he probably got, I'm just guessing, but I think he got a grant, like he was always pretty good at doing. But there was a commuter train. It was beautiful. They brought it up from Seattle, I guess. And it was parked out at the fair, or right, it might have been in front of the depot here. And he was trying to set up a system, you know, where the commuter train would go back and forth, and maybe the numbers didn't punch out right, but maybe we're ready for something like that. At least the commuter train might work for the tourists during the tourist season. It doesn't have to be all year. And then the other option is, I think, I don't know if you've touched bases with the company, I think they're still in business, the bus system that shuttles. That might be an option to bring the tourists in, either with their buses, or it might be possible to rent some of those, you know, those tourist buses. The seating is more comfortable and that kind of thing. That could bring them in to Palmer, and then we don't have Alyeska obviously, but there's interest in going out to Hatcher Pass, and I guess they like to go out to Butte and look at a moose or something like that, you know, that kind of thing. Whatever works, you know.
Yeah, right.
But and I think Senator Stevens did get a system where the train tracks do go out to the airport, but I have no idea how, you know, that would work. It's something, I don't know if the Palmer Council has studied any of those numbers. I'd be happy to find out some of the costs involved, maybe touch bases with our bus company here. They might be able to rent some of those tourist buses or drive them up from Seattle, you know, to bring them in here to the motel. And there's a lot of bed and breakfast or bed space that's not used. Even I go out to Connect Bar occasionally out there. I know she has a couple of cabins there, and they just sit there. They're not even used, you know. So I think Palmer and certainly Wasilla area, just in that valley, could do a lot better of setting up a more coordinated system, because the one I saw with Captain Cook Hotel was pretty impressive.
Okay, good. All right, thank you.
So that's basically my.
Sure, thank you for your input. We
Okay,
appreciate
yeah.
you coming.
If I can check back with the mayor, if you want me to try to get some numbers for you, I'll email you or something.
Okay, that sounds good, Doug. Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else in the audience that would like to address the council?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My name is not Eugene Carl Haberman. We may look alike, but my name is Mike Molesky, and I reside at 325 East Farway. And it happens to be an interesting zone. It's a light commercial zone. And having a conversation with my wife, we proceeded to explore, well, what else could we do with the property? We have 3 chickens, we could do something else. And so we went down the road of looking at the recent changes, and we saw that, we could do a short-term rental. We could create a spot that is a short-term rental, and we could rent that for 30 days. Then throw that person out and bring someone else in for 30 days and continue for the year. But when we looked over at the other aspect of this, which was accessory dwelling unit, we discovered we couldn't do that. And I said, okay. So I checked with Economic Development and Kimberly there, gave me good information. I then spoke with Mr. Hansen, and he confirmed the situation that we could operate a funeral home, we could do a brewery, we could do a cafe, we could do all kinds of interesting, strange things, bookstores, shoe stores, etc. But we could not rent in a long-term basis, even though if we were to create a space that was short-term rental, that was identical to a space that would qualify as accessory dwelling unit, they could not be done. So Mr. Hansen assured me that, and I want to congratulate all those people who worked for a long time to get short-term rentals down. And this other piece, I think, still remains there. So my encouragement to you all is to make sure that Mr. Hansen and the people that he has working have all the resources necessary to make this happen. Because I recognize that there are concepts in play. There's looking back at what happened 10 years ago and trying to see what's changed. But I can tell you that it's disconcerting to look at something that seems, practically speaking, to not make much sense. And so I applaud your efforts to make those changes, but I also encourage you to do them quickly. Thank you. And by the way, if you wish on Friday, you can call in and speak to the city manager if you have trouble.
Anonymously, can we?
What's that? Yes, 745-8900. He'll answer.
Anyone else in the audience would like to come and address the council? Yes.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council
Puts a button on, sir.
Oh, red. That's a Wasilla color, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. We should make it blue, shouldn't we?
Well, good evening, Madam Mayor, council members, and staff. My name is Stu Graham. I am a Wasilla City Council. Speak on behalf of the council tonight, nor am I here to speak on behalf of the Alaska Municipal League, where I'm a board member there. What I wanted to do was just to remind you, based on the mayor's report, the mayor talked about the governor coming out on Friday and doing his budget roadshow. The Greater Palmer Chamber of Commerce and the Greater Wasilla Chamber of Commerce will be hosting the governor on Monday, which I believe is the 1st of April. And not an April Fool's joke, by the way.
Yeah.
If it is, Todd, good job. Appreciate that. So they will have a special joint meeting at Everett's, which is the old Matsu Resort. You don't need a ticket to get in, but if you would call the Wasilla Chamber to let them know that you are interested in going, so they can right size the space for the number of people there. So that if you're not able to make the governor's Friday roadshow, you have the opportunity to do that on Monday. It is a luncheon forum. I think doors open at 11:30 and the forum will start at noon. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yes, yeah, you're right. Okay.
Well, good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. My name is Todd Smolden, and I do represent the governor in the office of the governor a couple blocks away. So far, the two meetings that the governor will be attending have been mentioned. So there's the Friday event at Everett's and then the Palmer-Wasilla Joint Chamber of Commerce meeting. I did notice, Stu, that it does say register online. I'm not sure if that's just to get names or for the chamber, that is, or to take numbers. But just to give you a little bit of information about myself, I was a public school teacher for almost 21 years. I taught at East High School for 17 years, Japanese, economics, social studies. And the last 4 years I have taught at North Star Behavioral Hospital with the residential teenage girls in mental health recovery. So this job, well, that job, especially that job, has prepared me for the position that I'm in now. I like to say that with adolescents, they pretend like they're not listening, but they actually are. With adults, they pretend like they're listening, but they actually aren't. So my new role gives me an opportunity to teach, and that's partly why I'm here tonight. You know, the governor recognizes that there's a lot of angst about the budget, but that's to be expected. Since we have spent $14 billion in savings in the last 4 years, and our revenues do not match our expenditures currently. Now, some people would like to see the dividend used to make up that delta. There are a lot of people who voted for the governor based on his pledge not to use dividends to make up that difference. So obviously, if you've been paying attention and you're involved in your community, so you have been, there's a battle of political philosophies that are currently taking place. The governor is very hopeful that at some point the protests will stop and that everyone will work together to come up with some creative solutions on how we can solve the deficit that we have. He has a tremendous amount of faith in the Alaska people. He is impressed with our ability to come up with creative solutions, but he has a political philosophy that favors money in the private sector and smaller, more efficient government. So if you are unable to see him and or see any of his presentations, my job is to act in his stead. So I am more than willing to meet with any group who might have concerns or would like a presentation on any particular part of his budget or agenda. I believe I heard the governor today, and he really sees the constitutional amendments as probably the most important piece of his vision. And so far the Senate has started to hear those, but the House has been unwilling to. And those constitutional amendments, one is a spending cap. Another is an amendment where both the legislature and the people would have to approve any taxes, new taxes, like they do in Colorado. And the third is to constitutionalize the PFD only in the sense that the people would vote for any changes to the PFD. So it doesn't actually constitutionalize the formula per se. It does, but it allows for a vote of the people to change that. So I hope that you would, regardless of how you feel about the governor, and today at the chamber meeting someone said it's on April Fool's Day, and someone shouted out, "That's fitting." I think it was supposed to be an insult, but I kind of laughed. But regardless of how you feel about the governor and his proposal, I hope that you would be encouraged to talk to me, call the office. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free, please, to contact me, and I can get those concerns to someone else if I can't help you with that. So thank you for allowing me to speak, and it's a pleasure to be in have my office in your lovely city. And I was able to attend the Palmer Chamber of Commerce luncheon and listen to Mr. Wallace speak, and that was a great presentation about what's happening in Palmer. And I think, no offense, Mr. Graham, but in terms of economic growth in terms of small entrepreneurial opportunities, Palmer really does have a great niche there. And Wasilla seems to have its niche in large facilities, which are also great, and which I'm sure you drive to Wasilla to shop at as well. So again, thank you. Appreciate your time, and I'm here to serve you. So let me know if I can help you in any way.
Thanks, Todd. anyone else in the audience that would like to come and address the council on any item that's on the agenda or any other item that's of interest to you? Okay, so with that, I will close audience participation. And we do not have any new business. Madam Clerk, record of items placed on the table.
We do not have any items placed on the table tonight.
Okay, and so with that, this rarely happens, we have another opportunity for audience participation. So we'll open up the audience participation again. Normally, we have a number of items that are handled during that period of time, but tonight we do not. So seeing no one else come forward, we'll close audience participation. And we are open to councilman comments. Councilwoman Sabrina Combs, would you like to start?
I actually don't have any comments tonight.
Okay. Councilwoman Fuller? Councilman.
I'll bring a tutu for the next meeting. Okay.
They're pretty red though.
I know. No, I just want to let, I passed on Mr. Hanson. I'm going to pass on to the city manager. I met with, I believe he's the VP over at the Alaska Bible College, which is kind of an enigma here to everybody, but they're looking at doing a lot of big things in the next couple of years. Their enrollment right now is about 55 to 70. They're looking to boost that up to about 300 here in the next couple of years is his goal. He's also looking at developing that property they sit on with a gymnasium and maybe even some dormitories. I'm not sure how he's going to do that, but I told him Mr. Hanson's the guy to talk to, as well as Mr. Wallace. So like I said, it seems like another opportunity opening the door here for Palmer and kind of fits in with the big comprehensive plan. Other than that, spring's here.
Councilwoman Linda Combs?
It certainly is. There's no puddles in my driveway in less than a week, so I'm really happy about that. But I wanted to say that I did attend the presentation at the train depot by the folks about the Brownsfield. I thought it was extremely well attended. I really was pleased about the breadth of the community that attended. There were people from so many different walks, so many different groups, so many different interests, and they were there to have their questions answered. And the ones that I talked to afterwards all stated that they did have their questions answered, as much by Mr. Hanson and particularly Mr. Wallace, which I took as wanting to pass on as a compliment, because I think you did do an excellent portion of your presentation. They were very appreciative, as was I, that the opportunity had even been presented to the community. So that was extra terrific. Also attended Chamber and got to hear Mr. Moosey's take on the state of the borough, which was, let's not talk about that. Nobody knows what's going to be going on. So it was a pleasant. Yeah, it was pleasant. So I did attend last Saturday at the legislative offices in Wasilla, the hearings. And I want to say that I'm grateful that those hearings are going on and that individuals are being encouraged to partake in the and participate in the democratic process and to be aware. I mean, if you're willing to sit there as I did for 3.5 hours to speak for 2 minutes, it shows that you have a passion or an interest, you know. And there were a lot of people. Todd could probably give me the actual numbers, but I'm going to say at least 170 testified. I think, didn't they, or more, or am I getting it backwards?
120 testified, but there was probably 250 maybe who went through the doors.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So this again is like the third, fourth attempt, or not attempt, but thing that I have attended in the last few months. It just gives me a lot of encouragement. I'm seeing more and more folks that are that are asking questions and that they are speaking up and they're learning that we have this process. So there's a great deal to always be learned. So, and I appreciate that. I really appreciate you fellows coming this evening. And I've got my card I want to give you because I want some more information regarding the program for seniors. And that'll do it, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Councilwoman Rubrick?
I don't know.
Okay. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, despite, I guess, tremendous evidence to the contrary, the skier in me refuses to believe that spring is here. So I'm going to keep living in my happy snow-filled world. George, I'd like to welcome you to the Parks and Rec Advisory Board. I think you're a great fit, and I think that board has a lot of opportunity. I look forward to seeing what you'll be able to put together given your expertise. So thank you for volunteering your time for that position. Matt Saar, the more I learn about what you do, the more thankful I am and appreciative of the sacrifices you guys make to help other people. So thank you very much for that. And I do hope we're able to find a partnership that helps you out with in the community here. I'm excited about spring cleanup. I think we made some positive changes last year with that. And yeah, I think it's a wonderful thing to offer. The governor. Thank you for your presentation about that. I do have to say I was disturbed that I had to register with a special interest group who now has my email address to attend the governor's budget hearing. I do look forward to hearing what he has to say, but it is a very peculiar method if you want to have an authentic discussion about the budget. So I'm concerned about that. And that's all.
Councilman Carrington?
I have kind of a strange request. I know in the summertime we have many more trash cans than we do in the wintertime. And then we always have this problem in the spring where it gets nice out and there's not trash cans out there. Because I like to encourage people to pick up, but I've gone through and picked up and then I've been walking 5 blocks looking for a trash can. So I wanted to encourage the city manager to see if they could get the extra trash cans out a little bit earlier, which might speed up our process. That's all.
Okay. And that sort of concludes the public portion. If you're looking at the agenda, we do have an executive session, but that will be closed. So right now, we will just have it at ease, and we will allow all of you to depart, and we'll close the doors and continue on with our executive session. Thank you, everyone, for coming. So we'll be at ease now.